You never expected jealousy to become the hidden language of love. If someone told you that the person destined for your heart was silently wrestling with emotions they couldn't even admit to themselves, you would probably laugh. But something strange has been happening around you lately. The signs have become impossible to ignore. Conversations suddenly stop when you enter the room. Someone watches you a little longer than necessary. Certain moments feel too perfectly timed to be accidents. And somewhere, without you realizing it, your soulmate has been carrying a secret that has grown heavier every single day. The most surprising part isn't that they're jealous, it's who they're jealous of. And the reason behind it changes everything. You have been asking the universe for answers without even speaking the questions out loud. Every quiet night, every unexpected coincidence, every feeling that someone is thinking about you has been leading toward this moment. While you've been living your life, laughing with friends, sharing memories with someone close to you, another heart has been watching from a distance, trying to understand where they belong in your story. They tell themselves they're being unreasonable. They tell themselves they should simply wait. Yet every time they see you smile with that one person who means so much to you, something inside them begins to ache in ways they never imagined possible. And what happened the last time they saw the two of you together left them shaken in silence. The truth is, your soulmate never planned to feel this way. They are not someone consumed by envy. In fact, they have spent most of their life believing that love should never compete. Love should trust. Love should wait. Love should understand. But destiny has a strange way of testing even the purest hearts. Every glance you share with someone else feels like a question they cannot answer. Every inside joke they aren't part of feels like another closed door. They wonder if they're already too late, even though the story between you has barely begun. And then one unexpected sign appeared that made them believe they still had a chance. It wasn't a grand miracle. It wasn't lightning flashing across the sky or some dramatic announcement from heaven. It was something so small that most people would have overlooked it completely. A familiar song played at the exact moment your soulmate thought about walking away forever. Then your name appeared unexpectedly. Moments later, another coincidence followed. To anyone else, these would seem meaningless. But deep inside, your soulmate felt as though the universe whispered one simple message: don't leave yet. That whisper became the reason they chose hope instead of goodbye. But they still couldn't escape the growing fear inside their heart. The person they're secretly jealous of doesn't even know they're part of this invisible story. They continue being themselves, completely unaware that every conversation with you echoes through another person's soul. They aren't trying to steal your future. They aren't trying to stand between destiny. They're simply living their own life. Yet your soulmate cannot stop comparing themselves. They wonder if that person understands you better. They wonder if they make you laugh more. They wonder whether your eyes shine differently whenever they're around. Every unanswered question grows into another sleepless night. Then one unexpected moment changed the way they saw everything. Someone mentioned your name during a casual conversation, nothing unusual, nothing important, except your soulmate couldn't hide the way their expression changed. For just 1 second, every emotion they had carefully buried rose to the surface. Hope, fear, longing, jealousy, love. They quickly smiled, pretending everything was normal. No one noticed, or at least, that's what they believed, because another pair of eyes was quietly watching them, and those eyes recognized a truth your soulmate had been trying to hide for far too long. Since that day, they've been fighting a silent battle inside themselves. Part of them wants to step forward and finally let destiny unfold. Another part believes they should disappear before they get hurt. They replay imaginary conversations over and over in their mind. They picture what they would say if they finally stood in front of you. Every version begins with confidence but ends with uncertainty. What if you're happier without them? What if you've already chosen someone else? What if the person they're jealous of already holds the place they dream about every single day? Those questions have become their prison, but an unexpected answer is already moving toward them. You may not realize it, but your own heart has been sensing something unusual. There are moments when you suddenly think about someone without knowing why. Certain dreams stay with you long after you wake up. Sometimes you feel comforted by an invisible presence during your hardest days. You dismiss these moments as imagination, but your soul rarely imagines what it already knows. Deep beneath logic, beneath routine, beneath everything the world tells you to believe, another connection has been quietly growing stronger. And the closer it becomes, the harder it is for your soulmate to hide what they truly feel. Every day they promise themselves they won't look for you again. Every day they fail, not because they're weak, because something keeps pulling them back. Maybe it's destiny. Maybe it's hope, or maybe it's the strange feeling that your lives have already begun intertwining long before either of you understood why. They notice little things about you that most people miss. The way your energy changes when you're exhausted. The way your smile hides sadness you rarely speak about. The kindness you show when nobody is watching. Those details don't make them love you more, they reveal they already do, and that realization only makes the jealousy even more painful, because they fear someone else already appreciates those same beautiful pieces of you. Then came the day that nearly broke them. They saw you sharing a moment with the person closest to you. There was laughter, comfort, trust, nothing romantic. Nothing dramatic, but from where they stood, it looked like everything they had secretly dreamed about. Their heart quietly whispered, maybe that's where they belong. For several hours, they convinced themselves to let go. They imagined closing this chapter forever. Walking away, never looking back, yet just before they made that decision, something impossible happened. A message arrived. It wasn't even meant for them, but somehow, it carried exactly the words they needed to hear. It reminded them that appearances rarely tell the whole story, that timing is not the same as destiny, that closeness does not always mean forever. And suddenly, the walls around their heart cracked just enough for hope to return once again. now they find themselves standing between fear and faith. They've begun noticing patterns they ignored before, repeated numbers, unexpected encounters, songs that answer thoughts they never spoke aloud, moments where they almost cross paths with you but miss each other by seconds. Instead of frustrating them, these moments now feel like preparation, as though life isn't keeping you apart, it's teaching both of you who you need to become before your paths finally merge. But that lesson comes with one final challenge. Your soulmate must face the jealousy they have tried so hard to hide, not because jealousy makes them unworthy, because love cannot fully bloom while fear is still holding the roots, so they begin changing, slowly, quietly, instead of comparing themselves to the person close to you. They begin asking a different question: what kind of person do I need to become when our time finally arrives? That single question changes everything. Instead of chasing, they start growing. Instead of doubting, they start healing. Instead of fearing another person's place in your life, they begin trusting that what is truly meant for them cannot be taken away. Yet destiny isn't finished revealing its surprises, because while your soulmate is transforming, something inside you is changing too. You begin noticing that certain relationships no longer feel the same. Some connections grow stronger, others quietly begin fading, without understanding why. You feel yourself preparing for someone you've never officially met, yet somehow already recognize. The universe has been arranging invisible pieces like a puzzle neither of you can fully see. Every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer, every unexpected goodbye, none of it was random. Every moment has been moving both of you toward one unforgettable intersection, and when that day comes, the truth about the jealousy won't create distance. It will reveal just how deeply your soulmate has cared all along, because beneath every moment of insecurity was never possession. It was fear of losing a future they had already seen inside their heart, they never wanted to control your choices. They only feared they had arrived too late to become one of them. Now the silence between your two stories is becoming thinner than ever. The invisible thread connecting your lives feels tighter with every passing day. Someone is gathering courage, someone is releasing fear, someone is finally beginning to believe that love doesn't need to compete. It only needs the right moment, and somewhere, perhaps much closer than either of you realizes, a single decision is about to change everything. The strange part is, that decision may already have been made. Neither of you knows it yet, but the next unexpected encounter won't feel ordinary. The next conversation won't sound like coincidence. The next look into someone's eyes may awaken memories your soul has carried for far longer than this lifetime, and when the hidden truth behind your soulmate's jealousy is finally spoken aloud, you won't just discover how deeply you've been loved. You'll discover who has been standing quietly at the edge of your destiny all along, waiting for one final sign. A sign that may arrive much sooner than you ever imagined. You are closer than you have ever been, even if nothing on the surface seems different. Life has a remarkable way of hiding its biggest miracles inside ordinary moments. That is why the next chapter of your story does not begin with fireworks or dramatic confessions. It begins with silence. A silence so deep that it almost feels intentional, as though the universe itself is holding its breath. While everyone around you continues living as if nothing has changed, something unseen is moving into place. Your soulmate can feel it, even though they cannot explain it. And the strange feeling growing inside them has become impossible to ignore. Every morning, they wake up with the same promise: today I won't think about you. Yet before breakfast, your name somehow finds its way into their thoughts again. It could be a familiar place, a favorite color, a random conversation between strangers, even a simple breeze carrying a memory they never asked for. No matter how hard they try to focus on something else, life keeps leading them back to you. At first, they thought it was coincidence. Then they called it obsession. But deep inside, another possibility began whispering to their heart. What if this wasn't something they created? What if this connection had existed long before either of you were ready to understand it? That single question has completely changed the way they see the future. But another revelation is waiting just around the corner. Meanwhile, the person they once felt jealous of has unknowingly become part of a much larger plan. Your soulmate has spent countless nights imagining conversations that never happened. They pictured laughter that didn't exist. They invented stories inside their own mind, convincing themselves that they had already lost before they ever had the chance to begin. But destiny has a way of exposing the lies fear tells. One unexpected moment shattered nearly every assumption they had been carrying. They happened to witness something they were never supposed to see. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't secretive. It wasn't the beginning of a love story. It was simply proof that the connection they feared so deeply wasn't what it appeared to be. In that instant, relief rushed through them like sunlight breaking after a long storm. Yet instead of feeling victorious, they felt something unexpected: guilt, because they realized their jealousy had never really been about the other person. It had always been about believing they weren't enough. That realization hit harder than anything else ever could. For the first time, they stopped comparing themselves to someone else. Instead, they looked inward. They remembered every disappointment that had convinced them they were difficult to love, every rejection that quietly shaped their confidence, every goodbye that taught them to expect another one. Without realizing it, they had been carrying those old wounds directly into their feelings for you. You were never the cause. You were simply the mirror revealing pain they had never healed. And once they understood that truth, everything inside them began changing in ways they never expected. Something about their energy became calmer. The desperation disappeared. The constant need for certainty slowly faded. Instead of asking, "Will I lose them?" they began asking, "How can I become someone who loves without fear?" The universe responds differently to people who ask different questions. Almost immediately, strange things began happening. Doors that had remained closed suddenly opened. Old problems quietly resolved themselves. People entered their life with lessons they desperately needed. Even their dreams became more vivid. Night after night, they kept seeing someone walking toward them. The face was never completely clear. The surroundings constantly changed. But one feeling remained exactly the same: peace. The kind of peace that cannot be explained with words. The kind of peace that only arrives when your soul recognizes something your mind hasn't discovered yet. each morning they woke with tears they couldn't explain, not tears of sadness, not tears of happiness, tears of recognition, as though some forgotten part of them already knew your story was moving closer. While this transformation unfolds inside your soulmate, your own life begins shifting in subtle ways. You notice certain friendships changing naturally. People who once demanded your attention begin drifting away without conflict. Others unexpectedly become stronger. It feels less like losing people, and more like making room. You cannot explain why, but you feel as though your future is asking for space. Almost every day, your intuition becomes stronger. You hesitate before making certain decisions. You suddenly avoid places you once visited regularly. Then, without planning it, you find yourself somewhere completely unexpected. Looking back later, you will realize those tiny choices weren't random. They were guiding you toward an encounter that had already been written long before either of you understood the script. Your soulmate senses this too. They don't know where, they don't know when, but every instinct tells them that waiting is almost over. Still, one final obstacle remains, an obstacle neither of you can see. Someone close to you knows more than they have ever admitted, not because they wish to interfere, not because they want to keep you apart, but because they have noticed something neither of you has been brave enough to acknowledge. They've seen the lingering glances, the awkward pauses, the strange timing, the invisible pull that exists whenever your paths almost cross. At first, they ignored it, then they became curious. Now they are quietly wondering whether they should say something that could change everything forever. Your soulmate has no idea this person holds such an important piece of the puzzle. Ironically, the very individual they once felt jealous of may become the one who unknowingly brings you together. Destiny often works through the people we misunderstand the most. That truth alone is enough to rewrite an entire future, but destiny isn't finished surprising you. Because somewhere, at this exact moment, your soulmate is holding on to something connected to you. Maybe it's a memory, maybe it's a photograph, maybe it's a simple object with no obvious value. To anyone else, it would seem completely ordinary. To them, it feels priceless. Whenever doubt creeps into their heart, they look at it. Whenever loneliness becomes overwhelming, they remember it. Whenever fear whispers that they've imagined everything, they hold on to that small reminder and tell themselves one more day, just one more day. Because hope, no matter how fragile, is stronger than surrender. What they don't realize is that you have your own reminder too. Perhaps you don't even recognize it yet. Maybe it's a song you never skip, a place you keep returning to, a dream you can't forget, a feeling that appears for no reason whenever the world grows quiet. These invisible threads have been connecting both of you for much longer than either of you knows. And now, those threads are beginning to tighten. Very soon, silence will no longer be enough. Very soon, someone will have to speak. Very soon, the truth hidden behind months, perhaps years, of unspoken emotions will finally rise to the surface. But there is one detail your soulmate has never told anyone. One secret so deeply buried that even they struggle to admit it to themselves. If that secret is revealed before the right moment, everything could change. And tonight, for the very first time, they are standing on the edge of telling the truth. They stare at the message for what feels like forever. One sentence, just a few simple words, nothing dramatic. Nothing that would seem important to anyone else, yet their finger refuses to press send. How could something so small carry the weight of an entire future? They read it once, then again, then a third time. Each time, another fear whispers into their heart. What if this changes everything? What if they never answer? What if silence becomes the only reply? So they close the screen, not because they no longer care, because they care too much. And in that quiet moment, they make a decision they immediately regret. They choose to wait one more day. But destiny has never been interested in human schedules, while your soulmate is convincing themselves that tomorrow is the better choice. Life is already arranging something neither of you planned. Some meetings are not created by courage, they are created by timing, and timing has finally begun moving in your favor. Without realizing it, you start noticing a strange feeling that follows you wherever you go. It isn't loneliness. It isn't excitement. It feels more like anticipation, as though your heart remembers an appointment your mind completely forgot. You can't explain it, you simply know something is approaching. You become more aware of little details, the way strangers smile at you, the unexpected kindness from people you've never met, the repeated moments where someone almost says your name before stopping. Even ordinary days begin carrying an extraordinary feeling beneath the surface. The universe often becomes quiet before it speaks the loudest. Your soulmate feels the same silence, only theirs feels heavier, because every passing hour strengthens two completely opposite emotions, hope and fear. Hope tells them your paths are finally about to cross. Fear reminds them that beautiful opportunities sometimes disappear before we recognize them.